Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to do another Q&A here on The Roads with Bo. This is all questions about dating. I'm very curious to see what y'all have to ask, to be honest. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. Same thing as before. Haven't seen the questions, and I'll give you the best answer I can give you. Okay. With all the drama between internet couples, what's the worst thing your wife does, and what's the worst thing you do? Yeah, our drama isn't any fun. The worst thing I do is I'll like drink coffee and leave like 3 sips in the bottom of it, mean to come back and get it later, and not. And that's not good. The worst thing my wife does. She is very. She explains things. I don't know how to say that. Ask her what time it is, and she will tell me how to build a clock. Those are our issues. We don't have drama really. We're way too mellow for that. Okay. How do you feel about large age differences? Obviously, I'm talking about among adults, but I'm 24 and met this guy who is 34. We had hung out for almost a week straight because we really clicked. Then he found out I was 24 and got kind of weird. He didn't ghost me, but now he's doing this whole older man protective bit. I really liked this guy until he got weird, just because all of my friends asked. We hadn't done the thing that normally makes men get weird. Is this something he'll get over, or should I just end this now? Okay, so you've talked to your friends, and you have talked to an internet person. Have you talked to him and told him? That would be my first step. I know that's one of the steps that people don't want to take often. But, I mean, if you really like this person, you don't mind the 10-year gap, then, I mean, I would bring it up to him and be like, hey, you realize you're being, like, super condescending? and just go with it from there. Can you get over it? Maybe, maybe not. That's going to have to be something you actually address. Okay. I just started dating this guy, and he wants to meet my son. He's brought it up a couple of times. I don't want to introduce him to my son until I know he's the guy who's going to be around. He took this as an insult and said I was planning for us to break up. We've been dating 2 months. There's actually not a question in that. But I mean, the implied question is, do I think you're right? Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, if you do not know that this is the person that's going to, be around, and you don't want your son to meet people who aren't going to be around, that is totally your call. Nobody gets to influence that. Yeah, that's so that I'm going to be honest. I would question I would question a man who doesn't understand this logic, because this is like cold calculating logic. That there's absolutely nothing insulting about this. These are the rules for this, like that you have set. They make complete sense. Yeah, you're definitely in the right if that's the question. And yeah, I don't know. A man not understanding that is maybe not a red flag, but definitely an orange one, especially after 2 months. Yeah, you're definitely in the right. Okay. Do opposites attract? So when it comes to interests, that's normally what people mean when they say that. They're talking about interest. Do people of different interests attract? And the answer is sometimes. It's not about interests. It's about like core values. If your core values are the same, your interests can be totally different, and everything will be fine. But you have to find the person that is your level of weird. Whatever your core values are, they have to be very close to that. Otherwise, there's always going to be conflict. Like I am not a horse person. I like the horses. I like to play with the horses. I do not view taking care of the horses as fun. My wife does. So, and there are a lot of things like that where we have very different interests, but the core values are the same. The reason we have, so many horses out there is because it's turned into, a home for broken horses. And on that note, for those who follow the horses, Charlotte has found a forever home. The first horse that has ever actually left my wife's foster system. So that's an exciting development. I do have to admit I'm a little sad about that, though. Okay. I'm seeing this guy who has a running joke with me in a bet with his friends where he picks people out of the crowd who are military. There's nothing you can see that would indicate they're military. How does he do it? They take their hat off when they walk indoors. They're carrying everything in their left hand. The watch is from the PX. And they're a 22-year-old with an $800 a month car payment. Just guessing. It's probably the carrying everything in their left hand if they're right-handed, though. Okay. Dating question from a female friend. Alternate questions to ask a guy on your first few dates to suss out if he believes I should have rights or not, without him feeling like he's telling on himself or that I'm trying to trick him into giving me proper information. It's not questions, observations. Watch how he treats waitresses, bartenders. See how he treats people that are perceived to be of a different social station. If animals, no-collar service workers, the homeless people in a position that is viewed as a service job. See how he treats them and go from there. Generally speaking, those people who who are not happy about women having rights, they are also very, they believe in social classes, and they're pretty rigid with it. So I would watch that. In one of your videos, you mentioned what an EOD patch meant. My husband was EOD, and he and his friends all wore little Lego patches, and when I asked what he meant, he said it was dark humor and that I didn't want to know. I lost him last year, and now I'm wondering if you know. Note, I sent her... Thank you. There's a little note here from... It says, I sent her a message. He was lost in a car accident, which is important information to know. The little Lego people, they come apart in pieces. This is not something I would have told you if he had, been lost at work. But that's the joke, and if I understand like where the joke came from, I think it started in Iraq. Somebody had lost their hand, and they took the hand off of a Lego guy and put in his room. I think that's where it started. What age do you believe women hit the wall? I don't believe the wall's a thing. Yeah, I don't believe that's not a thing. That's internet. That's not, man. The idea that there is a certain age that women like start to become less attractive, or it's all downhill from here, or something like that. It's just, don't take dating advice from anybody who told you that was real. My friend is dating an ex-dancer. She seems nice, but I just don't see him with somebody who would do that. She just stopped last year, and now she acts like it never happened. I feel like he should be more concerned. Concerned about what exactly? And she acts like it never happened, like what, like she doesn't go... I don't know what you're expecting here. That's a job. It's a job like any other job. If you quit working at, Target because you didn't like it, would you talk about it? Or if you just decided to move on from there, maybe you did like it. But is that going to be a common topic of conversation? It's just a job. And if he's not concerned about it, I don't see why you should be. Are stretch marks attractive to men? Everything's attractive to men. Okay, so just to go ahead and preempt any other similar questions like this, whatever it is that you think is wrong with you, that you think is not attractive, that is somebody's thing. Somebody out there really likes whatever it is that you don't like about yourself. Yeah, that's because of the beauty standards that get imposed, and this goes for men too. It's very standardized. A lot of people want to try to fit into that standard beauty type. The reality is there are a whole lot of people out there. I would suggest most people out there are attracted to things that aren't necessarily that standard. The deviation is what makes it interesting. If everybody looked that standard beauty model, that standard type, then that isn't what would be attractive. Okay. I'm the guy from your video, let's talk about 8 months of change. After that long video about the guy with the same problem, lots of people said they wished they had an update. So this is the guy who was working with the trans woman, and they hung out, and he thought she was very sweet, and he didn't understand why it was so easy to relate to her. And it was incredibly obvious that he was attracted to her. Okay, so here's the update. We've been dating 2 months. She's went home with me and met my mom, and they really got along well. My dad pulled me aside and told me he thought it was weird, but that I was always weird anyway. and that all he cares about is that I'm happy. My brother was a total not nice person, but my mom told him to treat her with respect, and he did. My girlfriend was really happy about my mom insisting we sleep in different rooms. I didn't understand it at first. Just think about it. You'll get it. I got it. Mom doesn't want you sleeping in the same room because she's a girl. Got it. Mom views her as a woman. Got it. Yeah, I imagine that would make her very happy. That's cool. So there's the update for everybody who wanted to know that, and a whole lot of people did ask. Even I noticed that. Okay. So much in the world going on, it's hard to focus. How do you and your family keep yourselves happy? I mean, after 47 years of marriage, we have our little routines that make us laugh, smile, and feel good about our life together. How do you and your wife keep that spark alive when you've both spent so much of your time learning, reacting, and commenting on the bad parts? I'm trying to figure out how to say this delicately. We have a whole lot of kids. The spark aspect, that has come very natural to us. As far as like routines that we do, I think one of the most important things is that, like, right after we eat dinner, we'll go outside, sit on the back porch together, and have like a moment without the kids. And just, it allows us to kind of recenter, talk about our days, talk about anything that might be like pressing later, distracting later, something that might come up later, and get all of that discussed then, so the evenings are more free. I really hope I'm understanding this question correctly. But again, it's also not the interest. It's the values. It's those core things that keep everything moving. Okay. Should I tell my current boyfriend about my ex-girlfriend? He doesn't know I ever experimented, and I'm not sure how he would react. So there's two different parts here. The first is, do you want to be with somebody that you feel you have to hide who you are or your past from? That's a question you have to ask. At the same time, you don't have to tell him everything either. This is something that I don't see any reason why he has to know. Especially you're in the dating phase, I'm assuming, but you're not sure how he would react. I'll go ahead and tell you, unless he's like super religious, this isn't going to be a deal breaker for him. So I think you might be worried about something that doesn't really need to be worried about, but at the same time, what you disclose about your past that's a decision that you make, that you need to be comfortable with. You don't owe you don't owe anybody anything when it comes to who you were. You know, if this is somebody who's interested in who you are, they understand, or they should understand, that who you are came from who you were. So even if they don't like it, if they like who you are now, that's what should matter. Why do men value purity? Insecurity. Insecurity. Generally speaking, almost, again, with the exception of those people who are incredibly religious and have a religious motive for that belief, the root of it is insecurity. That some other person was better in some way. Okay. Okay, you know, name redacted. I've seen her at a name of a school that I'm not going to say. I want to ask her out, but I don't want to seem like somebody who is asking her out because she used to make movies, grown-up movies. In my experience, she has been an incredibly approachable, nice person. So, I mean, as far as talking to her, I don't know that would be an issue. At the same time, I want to ask her out, but I don't want to seem like somebody who is asking her out for this reason. If you haven't really talked to her, why are you asking her out? I mean, I would start there. I would just talk to her. But I actually think she is, she's dating somebody. I think. So, okay. My boyfriend wants to go through my phone, and when I said no, he said all of his exes let him. He's brought it up repeatedly, and now he's on this thing where he's saying, I don't trust him with my phone info. I don't trust him. I'm not asking to see his phone. Am I wrong about this? No, you're not wrong about this. You're allowed to set boundaries. I know that this is becoming actually kind of common, that couples go through each other's phones and stuff like that. I will tell you, I have never gone through my wife's phone. She has never gone through mine. Long term, everybody needs privacy. Everybody needs their boundaries, their barriers respected. And I don't think you're wrong about this. He said all of his exes let him. Well, that's why they're his ex. Brought it up repeatedly. He said that you don't trust him when he's trying. Yeah, that's a red flag. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, that's not good. You not allowing him to go through your phone is you not trusting him. Yeah, that seems like a very early statement that kind of betrays a habit of maybe being kind of manipulative. Just off top. Again, I know that this is becoming more common. I think it's super weird. I think that people might be better off if they understood that everybody needs privacy. Everybody needs their own space. Everybody needs time to themselves. And maybe constant surveillance isn't a good thing. So, yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that. Okay, and that's it. I actually kind of thought there would be more, and I was really expecting them to be. I don't know what I was picturing, but I was expecting this to be worse in some way. I was not looking forward to making this video. Anyway, so there you go. There are your answers. It's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.